Bricklaying is probably one of the only jobs out there that actually still requires a skill to do it. You can drive a digger, you can pull levers, but bricklaying, it generally takes how you spread your mortar, how you're placing your stone. Majority of sites we turn up to, we have the rest of the subbies turn around and go, whoa, look at what you guys are doing, kind of thing. Look at the walls going up, the bricks going in. It's definitely a pride thing. It's not for everyone. Personally, I've been doing it about 10 years. I started up Nate Tyler Bricklaying about 5 years ago. We employed our first guy about 3.5, coming up 4 years ago now. So we've pretty much been slowly building our own team. We've had a couple contractors in, tradesmen, and give us a hand, and there's just different bricklayers from a different town lay different bricks to the next person, and that shows when you come to doing houses, kind of thing. So it's not for the faint-hearted. It's probably the thing. I got raised on a dairy farm. I like to think I was brought up around hard work, and this job here has been the biggest challenge. I think it's where I got my passion from, to be honest. Every day has been a challenge for me, whether it's right up to now. It's whether it's what you're lifting or what your body can physically do. We've got a good team of bricklayers. Everyone wants to come in and give it their best, and they all work hard and sweat whether I'm there or not, so it definitely makes my job a lot easier in that sense. One of our first tradesmen we employed, luckily he laid bricks just like myself, so we've kind of got along just well from the day dot. But from there on, we've employed fresh people and brought them into an apprenticeship. And at the moment, one of our apprentices is about 3.5, coming up 4 years in, so he's about to be signed off, and the next guy behind that is about 3 years. So we're all about a year apart between apprentices at the moment, so essentially starting a ladder. When I done my apprenticeship years ago, they pretty much told us at Tech if we had any mates that we could get into the trade, because bricklaying was one of the least amount of apprentices for that year. Out of every trade, bricklaying was the least amount. I'd say it comes down to the lifting and all the hard mahi that goes behind it. But I think it's worked out for us in regards to business. We're coming through a time where a lot of, I guess the old dogs you'd call them, are on their way out and we're on our way in, kind of thing, and there's not a hell of a lot of younger teams to replace them with. So perfect for us.
For the camera, come up. You're the one there that you got.
It is a 4-year-long apprenticeship, getting into it, which you'll probably find 4 years isn't long enough either. Starts at the bottom and makes their way up, but you could be earning upwards to $40 an hour by the time you get to a qualified tradesman running a team. It's everything else included. One of our boys has a fuel card and a work ute that goes with it, and he's on a good pay wicket as well, so you can go anywhere really. Bricklaying's in every country of the world. Well, these are the Hinuera stone wing walls. We installed these last year at some point, the 10-inch blockwork behind it. We're going to have a tin flashing come over top with a slight peak on it. It's going to be fixed to the stonework. We're pretty much just going to follow through with the exact same angle with the tin there, the same overlap on the stone, and pretty happy our team's pretty good on a grinder. Every corner brick here, that's every single one of these is where we would use up every chipped brick off the pallets. Every brick here has obviously had some cut off it. That's probably going to be a real bad chipped end that we put aside, and we'll use them for cuts when we're loading out our walls. I suppose for us, it's Hinuera stone. It's definitely one of our, we're pretty close to Hinuera quarry. The bricklayers I've done my time through was in Matamata as well, so a lot of their products they laid was Hinuera too, so it's always been there right through my career. I'm honestly, as a bricklayer, I'm pleased you've gone with Hinuera. Like we're about to start an Oamaru job, and it's going to be cool because we've never done Oamaru before. It's going to be cool to have experienced that stone, but it's not the same kind of pride, it's not from our local fucking quarry, yeah.
Since I've been to the quarry and visited and sort of realised how much it's a part of this region, it's an iconic stone to have on this house.
This is how our pallets pretty much turn up on site. Big stack of empty pallets, as you can see behind us. This is how they all come packaged, usually with a plastic wrap around the outside and polystyrene through in between every layer of stone. From there on it turns up to site, and we cut all the plastic off on the first day. Then it starts aerating and drying out and curing kind of things. A hard man, eh? From then on we take the stone off individually, one at a time. This is one of the last pallets on site, so this is more of the defected stone that we're having to be probably about 5 bits per pallet almost we've been putting aside, and quality control, I guess.
In what ways is it defective?
It's kind of hard to see, I guess, unless you stare at a lot of Hinuera stone, but it's more porousy. Probably can't see it on the camera, but it's almost like a different texture. Crumbles a whole lot easier, and it's just, yeah, it'll look completely different. I guess if we laid it as it is now, you won't see it until it dries and the light goes on it, and then you'll see the imperfections. So we've kind of made the call to put all them aside, and yeah, that's just part of natural stone though, I think. But yeah, from there on, they turn up and they're all moist, so we then carry them one piece at a time.
If I drop any, you're the one paying for it.
A lot of this job's been on scaffolds, so individually placing them. Always drilling our boards, it's about when you're not just dropping them as you place them, otherwise you'd chip about 4 corners on the way down. So we load them all out prior to laying the wall. We'll lie them all down one good side up, and then we put a bit of polystyrene in between, layer them on. It's more just a prep, so the stone's right there when we start the installation process. It's right next to you, then you can place it on. Yeah, we load it out about a day or two before we actually start the wall, so it can aerate and let itself dry out before we lay it. Tries to minimise mortar inconsistencies, the colouring and texture. Everything here is a striked pointed finish for weatherproofing, and if the stone's wet, your mortar doesn't dry kind of thing, so you keep trying to strike it, and it's almost like wet concrete as opposed to dry concrete. Yeah, 2 different colours. All of our vent holes, they've requested it to be 100mm below finished floor height, so we've had to go through and cut about 50mm off the first layer of stone the whole way around the house, and solid fill it with mortar with a 30mm ramp behind it. So up behind here you got a 30mm ramp. Pretty much it's got a 40mm cavity behind the stone to allow any kind of moisture that is ever going to get behind the wall, it's going to breathe, and it's going to dry itself out before it becomes an issue. And then we've had to apply three coats of Tankit waterproofing membrane, which is just a real, yeah, usually it's DPC kind of thing, but it's probably a way more legit way of doing it. It's not very often you do 2 cuts on a brick house. It's not a common detail kind of thing. Usually everything's on the whole reasoning for doing this bottom course of stone is to hide the rebate. You don't see the concrete slab. So by the time concrete's poured, you'll probably never notice it. One other thing that's been another hard thing for us that we've never done was this being a passive house, they've requested a bit of tape. So I've been given a roll of tape. It's pretty much a rubber tape that we're having to peel the back off. Sit that behind our brick ties onto the wall, and then we screw through that into the wall. It's just another bit of weatherproofing kind of thing.
You're putting in a rubber backing onto the waterproof membrane to just try to continue the airtight envelope of the house.
Yeah, correct. Which once again, we've never done that before in our time, but it's been quite interesting. Yeah. After we get through the load out, the next part of the process is we go through with these L brackets and screw them onto the framing to the highest point of the wall, and we plumb down off that and set up what we call profiles. These are all set off the base of the house and plumb down off the footing, and then we set string lines off this to the alternating corner, and we measure off the framing and make sure everything's parallel before we start laying. Everything on a common house is gauged off the roof. We'll go down from there, and whether it's a little brick or big brick, we'll make it work fills to the top commonly. Indoor brickwork and as well as the entrance way is where you go the extra mile on chipping and mortar joints especially. Everything almost picture perfect. That's what we'd like to think. capping this one. Details we're not that familiar with. These are all custom made to order to fit under the tin.
And they've got a little bevel or a slope on them?
Yeah, slight bevel, 25 I think, angle we've allowed, and the tin catches it about halfway there to catch up right higher than the actual tin itself, so water will never go backwards, I guess.
Yeah, got a good tour of the factory and had a look at the quarry.
So this is our capping detail that I've been bricklaying for a few years now. We've never done one of these. These are all custom cut from Hinuera. We've all got a 15-degree fall that tucks up under the tin here to follow the same angle, give that negative detail. So for us it's meant that every corner piece we've had to mark by hand and custom cut to miter corners. Where it goes from a beveled edge to a flat brick, we've had to custom cut pieces to suit. It's probably been one of the most difficult parts of this project, to be honest.
Was it a design that you knew about before you started the build?
On the original plans there was a detail of having a sill at about 40 mil high, sill capping piece, so we kind of talked back and forth and with Peter and everyone else with the architect to kind of take out a 40 mil slit, because what you would have seen is you would have seen a little slither of brick and then you would have seen a sill on top of it, which it wouldn't have, obviously wouldn't have looked right. You would have seen two little slithers of brick on the top of your wall. So I'm pleased we kind of got the solution to keep it one bigger size piece of stone. Looks a lot more uniform. I'm pretty sure the builders are going to go through after this and put a line of silicone underneath this tin as well. It's a bit of extra, yeah. So there'll be no issues there. That's pretty good, Billy.
Perfect in case where you take these out and you're going to be a head from.
The boys should have worked their bond, they should be following what's below, the courses below. Be plumbing up from what's below and all the stones are relatively similar.
Gotcha, so you're literally following the...
Yeah, from down below, should be the same right the way up. natural variations and stuff. You're on bond day, Steve, you plumb? Have you checked all your 12
Every corner piece is cut, alternating. That brings it back to the half bond look that we're going for.
Are you a half bond or a stacked bond guy?
I'd prefer half bond, yeah. Especially with this product, it does vary quite a bit being a natural product, and if you start laying that stacked bond, you see a lot of imperfections even more between stone to stone. So I feel like you get a lot straighter being half bond. That's probably the biggest thing with Hinuera is actually when the pallets turn up, because they're off this part of the mountain and this part of the mountain. Yeah, it is quite critical to mix and blend every pallet, and otherwise, you do see that. You'll see one wall with a whole lot of wattle lines and this beautiful grains through it, and then the other half will be all pumicey, and it does look real patchy. So. Well, this is the end of the job. Yeah, just obviously reputation at the moment. Just want to be the best out there, really.
How do you do that?
Laying everything to the mill, being tidier than everyone else, really. I'm always trying to sit there and think in my head, what can we do better than the next Joe Bloggs up the road? Say everyone lays the exact same bricks. What's the next thing we can do? That's having a tidy site as we go, or you know, the wastage on sites, the materials you're using, the off-cut pile, and every other little point we try to get at. Hard work definitely pays off in any trade you're in, really. Reliability, incentive. It's a trade where you've got to look for work. It's always in front of you. It's always there if you look for it. It's always there. But it's more initiative, really. Yeah, people that turn up every day is a big thing for me. Every one of our boys, since we've employed them, I think the latest someone's been is about 5 or 10 minutes, and that's pretty good in my eyes. I wouldn't tell them that, it's not good enough, but it's yeah, pretty proud for that. Everyone turns up every day and on time.
Yeah, life is literally about showing up, isn't it?
So believe that or not, but our boys, yeah, literally within 5 or 10 minutes over the last few years, not even lying. So we've had the odd labourer that I think they kind of come to the end of their job and realise they don't want to do it, and they kind of drag their lip, and that's obviously frustrating. You've kind of got to, come on mate, do you want to be here or not? Because it's a job where you've got to come in and work. So you've got someone who doesn't want to work that comes in, it gets quite awkward pretty quickly. Yeah.
You get that sense of pride, don't you, when you do a job and it's done right,
Done properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, too right. Pretty bloody proud of what we do. Always trying, mate.